Baptist podcast we gather around to talk theology, politics, and the sweet banjo sound. Kevin Thompson leads the way, teacher and preacher too. With a men's quartet, the harmonies ring true. Gather around the mic, let's find our way, singing praises, strumming banjo strings all day. Amputated Baptist podcast where we all belong. Join the harmony, let it carry us along. With a passion for faith and a banjo by our side, we don't deep, we don't hide, we take it all in stride. From parables to politics, every topic on the table, let's harmonize together, let's make it stable. In the chord progressions we find our peace, singing praises, strumming banjo strings all day. Amputated Baptist podcast where we all belong. Join the harmony, let it carry us along.
Theology, politics, and a little bit of banjo. You're listening to the Amputated Baptist podcast. And now, here is your host, the Amputated Baptist himself, Kevin Thompson.
Okay, we're here at the State Line Youth Conference live, but everyone's cleaning around us, but that's okay. So across the table from me this whole time has been Paul Cox from Reftoons. So Paul, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Okay, so let's introduce you to people who don't know you, because you were on my old podcast,
Right.
but you haven't been on the new, highly acclaimed award. We haven't won any awards yet, but
Those are all just made up anyways.
yes. So I could just give myself an award. I probably should. But anyway, we have a lot more listeners than we've had before, so I want to introduce them to you. I'm going to introduce them to you by a recollection a couple of years ago when I first met you. We were at a conference, Doctrine and Devos,
Right.
with Joe Thorne and Jimmy Fowler. And I was standing with you, and you met Joe Thorne, and you had showed him a sketch you had done just right there at the conference of him.
Okay.
And you're not remembering this.
Vaguely.
Vaguely. Okay.
Yes.
And the first thing, after you introduced yourself as the person behind Reftoons, the first thing he said is, "You ought to be a millionaire."
I don't remember.
So that should be on a advertisement somewhere. But I remember it. So first, let's back up before we get to Reftoons. Let's talk about the Reformation. We're recording this in October. Next week is our anniversary of the Reformation on October 31st, 1517. How did you become Reformed? Because you didn't grow up that way. That's not something that you were taught, but that's something you came to through the Word of God. So tell us about that evolution, that journey.
Ooh, that goes back a while, back to probably around 2010, 2011, when I, due to some unfortunate circumstances in the Free Methodist Church that we were attending, that I had been a member of my whole life, we ended up leaving that church. This was after Stephanie and I were married.
Yeah.
And but through that experience, there were certain pastors that were promoted through the church that we were attending,
Yeah.
because they didn't vet any of the material that came in.
Right.
They would teach any or use any curriculum that taught the Bible.
Yeah.
Or anything. So there was a small group curriculum that had some pastors from various denominations in it. One of those pastors was Matt Chandler,
Ooh,
actually.
Okay.
This was back in like 2011, 2012
Yeah.
or so. And I was like, wow, I've never heard anyone like actually preach verse by verse through scripture
Okay.
before. So I looked him up after that. And found some of his sermons about the sovereignty of God, which I don't remember being taught.
Yeah.
And through that, through like listening to his sermons, he would recommend books and podcasts and things like that.
Right.
From there, I found like the White Horse Inn.
Excellent. Michael
podcast.
Horton, yeah.
Yeah, and from there I found Michael Horton's books, and then it just kind of rabbit trailed from there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a few years later that I realized what I was learning was the dreaded Calvinism,
Right.
and Reformed theology, and I was like, wait, that's what that is? That
I
just makes sense to me.
I often find that people, when you don't use the term, people are a lot more receptive
Right.
to the doctrines of grace if we don't jab that term in it. But go ahead.
Right, yeah. So that kind of led me down the path, and as I was learning about these things, I started learning about the Reformation and this thing called Reformed theology, and then in 2017, that's when I thought I'd kind of put my two loves, my newfound love of theology and my love of comics together, and just share kind of what I was learning by illustrating quotes from some of the old dead guys that I was learning from.
So you're a freelance artist by trade, right? Is that
I was.
you were?
For 15 years, I did
Okay.
freelance illustration, but last year actually I took a full-time position
Okay.
at a souvenir company, and now I'm doing illustrations for souvenirs that get shipped around the world.
Okay. I think this should be your full-time job, Reftoons.
I do too.
Because it's just it makes a lot of what people consider difficult doctrine accessible. I'm using one of your books right now in my classroom for people who have no idea what the Reformation was, and I'm so upset at previous teachers for that. But they're being introduced to this concept through graphic novels, through real easy to understand bits and pieces that I believe God is using in great ways. And so you're not just so you do a lot of illustrations, a lot of we can't call them, I don't want to degrade them by saying memes.
No.
But
Comics.
yeah. But then you've added that. Now you're taking on some heavy duty stuff. So you have illustrated parts of Pilgrim's Progress, catechisms, both the Westminster and the Baptist Catechism. You've got a catechism for children, and your most recent, I think it's your most recent project is Calvin's Institutes.
Right.
Tell us about Calvin's Institutes, because that's like, I've got a 5-volume set of that at home. And I remember Kevin DeYoung saying, if you just read 3 pages a day, you can finish it in 5 years. That sounds daunting to me. But you're taking this and you're making this accessible to a whole new generation. So tell us about that.
Right. So I'm working with P&R Publishing, and there's an author. He's a professor in Australia. His name is Martin Williams, and his wife Joy Williams. They are actually taking the text of the Institutes, condensing it down into a digestible comic book script for me. And then I'm taking that and I'm illustrating it, and we're also kind of weaving a story into it where cartoon Calvin is taking these 2 kids through the Institutes, and he's teaching them theology as they go through different situations and illustrations.
Which is great because, with Calvin's Institutes, he didn't just write that all at once. That was a journey for him.
Yeah.
That took many years to complete.
And there's several different versions.
Right. And so you taking the kids through a journey, and not just kids, but anyone, young adults, old adults like me, that I must confess I've never read the totality of Calvin's Institutes. So I'm just going to wait. You've got several of these coming out, right? How many?
So it's planned for 16
Yeah.
issues, 16 booklets.
Right.
So each booklet has a certain number of chapters that correlate with the chapters in the actual Institutes. And then once those 16 books are out, we'll probably collect them into 4 volumes, actually, to kind of mirror the 4 volumes of Calvin's Institutes.
So what's your time frame with that?
The time frame is whenever it gets done.
Yeah, okay.
Being that
This isn't happening tomorrow, though. This is going to take
no.
several years.
So the first one is out. The
Right.
second one I'm hoping to have finished by January 31st
Okay.
of 2026, so that they can get it into
Yeah, finished is not published.
printing and everything.
Right.
But we're hoping for at least 2 per year until it's done.
So how do you work with the authors? How do you, I mean, because you do this with other books as well. How do you work with the author to create just the right illustration to fit the text?
They've kind of left it up to me. So
Okay.
the first volume, there wasn't really like a kind of a story that went along
Okay.
with it. So I took what they had for the script. They had kind of condensed it down as Calvin teaching
Right.
children, but we didn't really have set like characters or anything.
Yeah.
So I took that first, the first book was kind of our experiment.
Right.
So I took that and I kind of wove a little story throughout and put them in situations in different worlds. I kind of made it more whimsical. So
Right.
like they're going through portals, floating in space, and things like that.
See, that's awesome. I mean,
Adding a little sci-fi.
it's on my
to it.
it's on my list of books. I haven't gotten to it yet, but it's on my list of books to go through because I think I could use that not only in my classroom but in my house.
Right.
But we're going through the Baptist Catechism.
Okay.
Was that through Founders or was that just through self-publishing?
I originally self-published it.
Okay.
And then when I sold out of all the copies that I had bought from the printer,
Yeah.
then Founders picked it up, and then
Okay.
they also contracted me to do the Boys and Girls Catechism
Yes.
as well.
And I just bought that today, so I'm looking forward to that. And I bought the coloring edition because I think the kids would like
Yeah.
that, especially. So you got a real heart for the family and a heart for doctrine,
Yeah.
and so we appreciate that. So where do we find out more?
You can go to reftoons.com. That's my online shop. And then if you're on socials, you can go to Reftoons on Facebook, Instagram, X, as well as YouTube.
Yeah.
Where on YouTube, I do a lot of live drawing.
Right, I was going to mention
things
that.
like
That because that sounds pretty cool. I haven't watched. I said I've watched some of that.
Yeah.
I would say, but I know a lot of people that if that's what you're interested in, illustration, drawing, comics. It's a cool thing because sometimes you sit down with your kids and you go through how really the behind the scenes look
Right.
at what you're doing,
Right.
and so
And recently, I've just been doing live streams with just music playing over the top,
yeah.
where I'm just drawing and not talking or anything. It's just music, and a lot of people have said they enjoy that for like studying
Oh, cool.
and things like that. Just having that on in the background.
All right. Well, right behind us, there is a massive army that's cleaning up here, and we should probably wrap things up as the paparazzi is now taking pictures. So, again, the website is reftoons.com, and then check out all the socials. And I can't recommend this enough, and I really appreciate it. Now, the cool thing is, Paul, through the graciousness of his own heart, donated several buttons that he made for the podcast, exclusively through the Amputated Baptist podcast. So you can send me an email if you want, if you're looking forward to one of those. I gave several out here today at the conference. So, Paul, I thank you for that. And I should have given you Amputated Baptist merch. I should have given you a hat or something, and I put it all away.
I think Harper, my daughter, got a hat.
She did get a hat.
Yeah.
Yes. During one of our Q&A sessions. So, Paul, thank you so much for being on the podcast and taking the time
Thank you.
with us. All right, and all of you, to make sure you check out our website at amputedbaptist.com. We'll have those links available for you on there. So until next week, have a good rest of your week.
Singing praises, strumming banjo strings all day. Amputated Baptist Podcast, where we all belong. Join the harmony, let it carry us along.